Welcome back to our podcast. This is episode 2, Tap into Tong Ren Stories of Healing and Change podcast. This is where we discuss the amazing and renowned distance healing technique of Tong Ren Therapy. It is gaining significant popularity throughout the world, especially because it's very effective. It helps us to reduce suffering, and it allows us to be empowered and take our own healing into our own hands, and to help others. In our last episode, we talked about the history of Tong Ren, and we gave information about the founder, Tom Tam. For myself, my name is Joseph Lucier, a 25-year practitioner and author of several books on the topic of Tong Ren and the Tam healing system. My goal is to share this information with other people so that they can also use this technique or experience this technique for their own healing and recovery. This week, in our episode number 2, I want to cover with you one of the most amazing stories of my entire career. This is a story of leukemia recovery. There was a 6-year-old young girl who had already tried many techniques, such as bone marrow transplants and other methodologies, and she was still struggling. And in fact, she was in hospice. At that time, her mom was determined to help her. Her mom did not give up and was determined to find new solutions so that her child would be saved. So she looked everywhere and eventually found myself on the internet, and she found Tong Ren distance healing. So what this means is I could work with her at a distance and train her mother. The main way that I usually do this is we work with people. I either work with them directly myself through the telephone or through Zoom directly with the person. But the better thing to do is also to have a sibling or a parent or a spouse to work alongside. So this is what I did in this specific case. So I sent the materials, a simple set of Tong Ren training materials, the acupuncture model, the acupuncture tapping hammer, and we began to work, and I trained her to work on her daughter. At that moment in time, she was actually in hospice. The doctor said there was no more hope for her. So when a mom hears that, she thinks, I'm not giving up. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to figure out something. And she did. So we began. We worked on the child, but before we go into that, I'm going to explain what leukemia actually is. Leukemia is where the bone marrow, which produces red and white blood cells, malfunctions. This is our home, our factory for producing our main immune cells of the body. So what we want to do is make sure that that process is working. If, in the case of leukemia, they call it a blood cancer because the actual blood cells are broken. They're not producing. Eventually, if this continues on, there will be no immune system of the patient any longer. In technical terms, the cells that are usually produced in the bone marrow do not grow to their normal maturation. They actually don't make it all the way to full-grown cells. Therefore, they take up space, but they're broken, they don't do any work, and they eliminate the opportunity for space for normal cells. Eventually, there are no normal cells, and there are only broken cells, and there is no immune system, no tolerance for any type of infection at all in the body. All the normal functions of the body break down. So the goal is mainly to focus on recovering the bone marrow functionality. In the Tong Ren system, we have a very specific target like we have for so many different things. In a nutshell, we would focus on the immune system to boost that back up, to get that strong. We'd focus on blood flow and nerve flow of the body to supply nutrients to help that area to recover. And specifically, there are some very special points. The benefit and the beauty of the Tam healing system and the Tong Ren itself has very targeted points. So in the spine, we have cervical, C1 to C7, thoracic, T1 to T12. We have lumbar, L1 to L5, and sacrum, S1 to S5. So all of those are also target points, because as we said in the previous episode, our goal is to open a blockage that is interfering with the brain-wound connection of the body to communicate and to fix things and to help the body to recover. In the case of leukemia, we have very specific points. In particular, it's called T1, which is thoracic, right around the level of the shoulders. So our goal is to open T1 of the thoracic spine. In everything that we do with Tong Ren, in general, an overall approach for Tong Ren is to do kind of a whole body tune-up, which makes the entire body strong. Since the body is a holistic entity, everything is interconnected. We want to make the entire body strong and remove resistance of very specific blockages. In the case of leukemia, T1, which is a back shoe point for all of you out there that know Chinese medicine, that is for the bones. So we work on those areas, C6, C7, and T1, right near the spine, to open a blockage to allow that bioelectrical communication of the nerves. As we mentioned before, the nerves have communication from the brain to a target area. In addition to that, we have some classical Chinese points. So that would be right near the ankles, on the outside of the ankles, stomach 39. So the reason we do those is because from a Chinese medicine energetic perspective, we also want to enhance the energy systems of the body. In many ways, we call that the field. So in our understanding, if we open this blockage, we can actually recover. And the magic of the body wisdom, comes back on track. It has all the machinery, all the structure, all the mechanisms to reproduce actually an entire human body from the DNA up. So we want to reproduce normal cell functioning to the body. So at the time that I met the mother and the child, as I said, was in hospice, and she was struggling. She was in bed full time, not really speaking and not really communicating, and certainly not walking at all. So we wanted to start to help this child to recover. Just a quick side note is Tong Ren opens a blockage. The communication link, as we're going to learn throughout these episodes, in many ways is the heart of compassion. This is a communication link. As we said before, Tong Ren works at a close distance or anywhere on the planet. For myself, I work on people in Asia, Americas, in Europe, everywhere, because the distance is immaterial. So our strategy was the mother with the daughter in person would do the Tong Ren therapy, the tapping and opening a blockage from my place further away in Massachusetts. The child was in hospice in New Jersey. In Massachusetts, I did my tapping, and we would work together on a regular basis as I would teach the mom to work on her daughter. And guess what? No surprise, the mother would every single day work up to 3 hours on her daughter. She would not give up on her daughter, as expected from a loving mother. We were hoping to see change, and we did. Within a short amount of time, we saw some changes. The daughter became more responsive. We continued on this process. I worked with them as many as 3 times a week. The mother worked every single day as many as 3 hours. So we did everything possible. At different times, I would also add in extra sessions. But we wanted to have what is really important to understand with the Tong Ren therapy is to build traction and momentum. If we did one large session once a month, that would have some benefit, but it would lose that traction. The child, the disease would gain the traction, and we would be running away. We would be running after something that is moving faster than us. So every single day, Tong Ren therapy, that is one of the main techniques, is to actually work to pump the healing technique pump the body full of healing energy on a regular basis. And as I say, the healing power of compassion is one of the superpowers. And guess what? A mom to her daughter is more than even I could even think of or perform. So that is the superpower of the heart of compassion and love for a child. And then on the layer of Tong Ren distance healing, a very targeted blockage to open. And we did that. So the combination of all those amazing things coming together, we worked. So the good news is, as we said, the child was not speaking, not eating, and on IV at that moment in time when we began. Eventually, the child started to speak. The child even began to eat. After a few weeks, the child was being a child, out of bed, walking around, and terrorizing the nurses. This was perfect. The child was becoming a child again. The child felt great. The mother was excited, and the child's progress was continuing. So we continued on this very aggressive modality every day, pumping, because we want this child to win. And she did. The child sent me pictures. She's an artist. She's an amazing child. She actually focused on healing foods, herself, her own intuition, as well as her artistry and different things. At one point in time, as she was recovering, the mother asked me, should she have this food or that food or different things? And I said at that time, whatever she wants is perfect. She knows best. At this point in time, she's recovering, coming back to life. It was an amazing story of transformation. So the child would send me pictures. She seemed to like pictures of starfish, interesting animals. She was an amazing artist, so she would send me pictures. The mom would send me stories saying she was playing with the nurses and running around and doing different things. This took several weeks, but we did it. And eventually, the child left hospice because she no longer had leukemia. Yes, she was declared leukemia-free. Technically, from the perspective of the actual doctors, they said it must have been a misdiagnosis. In their frame of reference, we must honor the doctors and nurses for what they understand, but we must also understand that their frame of understanding is very narrow. A child who comes in with leukemia and leaves leukemia-free, in their perspective, is impossible. It's out of their framework. They are unable to understand that. Therefore, their original assessment must be incorrect and illogical. That's the only way that they can explain this. They don't understand that we can actually have an incredible effect on someone, even from a distance, but focusing on the natural physiology of the body, opening a blockage to allow the biggest resource to be unleashed, the resources of the body itself. As I say, it's not the practitioner doing the work. I am not a healer. I am a facilitator, allowing the body wisdom to come alive, to do the amazing work it can do. Remember, we are an integrated, holistic body, in an integrated body, mind, and spirit environment, even connected to the earth and the world around us. So, the child left hospice. The child went home. The mother continued with the therapy as a maintenance going forward, and she had the tools, her own self, to take care of this child going forward. For everyone listening to this podcast at this very moment, understand that you must ask questions. You must look for alternatives when the allopathic medical industry has run out of answers. If they say to someone they will be dead within a couple of months, that is 100% their belief. But that doesn't have to be your belief. There are other choices. As we said in the introductory podcast, 20,000 years of combined history of medicine, of Ayurvedic medicine, indigenous medicine, Indian continent medicine, all of these things have been around thousands of years, working in a holistic perspective to have great success. You can do the same. This is very important. So, thank you for listening. This is Tap Into Tong Ren, Stories of Healing and Change, episode Number 2, our story about a young child with leukemia in hospice, told that she was going to die, who actually survived, became successful through the heart of compassion of her mother and anyone else that worked on her, such as myself, and she recovered, and the power of hope won out. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you on our next podcast. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Tap into Tong Ren, Stories of Healing and Change podcast. I'd love to know, what did you think? Did you have any aha moments? What got you fired up? Did this episode make you more curious about this healing world, or make you think differently about specific topics and hopefully expand your awareness? Let us know your feedback, and always feel free to contribute and share your own ideas and recommendations. Let us know what is your possible personal experience in this area. Think about what you heard that got you most excited. Figure out how you can ignite that fire by taking a first step or going deeper into your own practice. This is your nudge for you to question what you have heard from us, for you to question what you've heard from others, and above all, get to the truth that you need in order to be empowered and excited about your practice and your own health. Question things and get out of your comfort zone and start making things happen. If you have questions, reach out to the community. Also, we have lots of resources like online courses and live workshops to support you. Once again, thank you for thinking about us and listening to our Tong Ren Community podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode of Tap into Tong Ren, Stories of Healing and Change. We hope to continue to empower, inspire, and uplift people on their journey to optimum health. Join us each time and let's take charge of our health and share this important information with the world.